Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Ola, your host. My name is Ola Olaleye, and I have my guest with me, Michelle. And today we are just going to have a blast. So, if you're coming here for the first time, this is Wordzone with Ola Olaleye. And I would want you to click on that subscribe button and also leave your comments coming in and your questions because it's going to be a very interactive one today. My guest is a teacher, so you can ask all the questions you want to ask. So, Michelle, thank you for coming. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Wordzone.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. So, what we do here on Wordzone is to talk about your self-discovery journey. How did you become the Michelle that you are today? And also to go into a bit of process. I love process. I enjoy listening to the journey, that process. And because of our generation right now, a lot of people don't like talking about process. It's just quick fix,
Exactly.
microwave kind of miracles. But
hmm
I know that there is always a waiting time. So you're going to tell us a bit about that, as well as whatever you want us to know that is going to inspire us today. But to start, I would like you to introduce yourself to my lovely guests, people who are watching us on YouTube, and who are going to be watching us later. Could you introduce to us who Michelle is? Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Um, I find that question sometimes difficult to answer because there's so many
I
sides.
hear that a lot. I hear that a lot.
So, very basic answer, and of course, you can prompt me if there's something else you want me
Yeah.
to add. But I was this very timid child. It's something that I like to talk about because you mentioned process. So every time I talk about myself, I like to talk about the fact that I was this very timid child,
Mm,
and I've become this person who speaks to people. I always have thoughts about that, transition. And people that knew me back then have told me, oh wow, if nobody would have thought that you'd be able to stand in front of people and speak. But anyway, basic things first. My name is Michelle. You know that I'm a teacher. You've already mentioned that. I'm a mother of two lovely teenage girls. I'm also a family life practitioner. I'm a trained counselor as well and a CBT practitioner. So I'm in the helping profession. And I used to be a banker, but those 5 years I spent in the bank were, I would say, the most miserable years of my life. I back then when you got a job as a banker, it was like a big deal. So of course when I got the job, not because the banking sector is bad, but I just wasn't suited for that
mm,
for it. But wherever I find myself, I do a good job. So I did a good job, but I was miserable those 5 years. And I knew that I couldn't remain here for forever. I wasn't planning to retire as a banker and collect whatever pension they were going to pay me, So I've had this journey of self-discovery. Like I said, prompt me if there's anything you want me to talk about in greater detail. But I've always wanted to find myself. Nobody talked to me about purpose or discovering yourself. I just had this feeling of unease within me, and every time I found myself somewhere, I knew that there had to be more. I didn't know how to find my way. So any information that would give me that help. And I think that's how I got into motivational books. Of course, you make mistakes along the way because you know what those books tell you, like you can, just sleep and wake up and now you're there, but it's really not like that. But those books helped me because they opened my eyes to the fact that there's more to life than where you are. So I was constantly on this journey. So from the bank, I went into education, something that I always knew that I was suited for. But I mean, you don't leave uni and then the next thing you want to do is teach. It was so, who wants to be a teacher? So of course, when the bank came calling, I jumped on it. But when I started teaching, I knew that yes, I'm finally finding I'm finally finding my way. And after a while teaching, I realized that there has to be more that I can do. I felt like I couldn't make as much impact in the system as I could outside, but I still didn't know how I was going to go about it. So it was just my life has been a journey of asking questions and just trying to find my feet. So that's me in a nutshell. I'll be happy to take any more any other question.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do appreciate your answer. All right. You said something about your 5 years in the banking industry.
Hmm.
Banking isn't bad. I remember those days when I used to live in Nigeria. When you get a job as a banker, you have a prestigious job.
Oh yeah.
And, especially the way bankers used to dress then,
Dress.
man,
Yes.
everybody wanted to be in the banking industry.
Oh
It's
yes.
either you're in the banking industry, advertising, or you are in the oil and gas
Mm.
industry. Those were the three prestigious, one of the three
Yes.
prestigious jobs in Nigeria. Yeah. One thing that you said when you were in banking, 5 years in banking industry,
Yes.
I'm sure those 5 years, even though you didn't really fit in, according to what you told us, but those 5 years were not wasted.
Oh no,
Okay, so
not at
tell us
all.
about those 5 years. What when
Not at
because
all.
you
Mm.
you know you and I we've had a conversation before,
Conversation.
and I want you to share that because there might be
Yes.
someone listening to us now who
Mm.
is doing something and they think, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this thing I'm doing, but were
Yes.
there things you still picked up, even
Mm.
though that wasn't what you
Oh
were built
yes.
for?
Certainly.
Okay, go for
Mm.
it. Share
Certainly.
with us.
There's no experience that is wasted, good or bad. Okay. And one of the things that I grew up in a Muslim family. I left that out. So I was actually born a Muslim. And when I came into the Christian faith, so as a Muslim, I was taught things like whatever happens is the will of God. So you kind of accepted anything that came to you, good or bad. But then when I came into the Christian faith, I started hearing things like, when you're a child of God, nothing can touch you, this, and stuff like that. So it made me feel invincible. Just, I remember the first time my bag was snatched. That was, well, I used to work in bank then, and I was going home and I had my bag. And this Okada man just, I don't know how they did it, just quietly rode beside me, nudged me a little, and phew, took my bag and off they went. And I started screaming, oh God, I pay my tithes. How can this happen to me? You guys, ah. And I was like, do you understand? So I began to question, like, how could this happen to me? I pay my tithes. I pay my tithes. It was a shock.
You
You
pay
know,
for protection.
I don't, where is this Deborah? This is the Deborah at work. My bag. That was that was a lesson. And I started to understand that everything that happens to you is for a purpose. So nothing is wasted. So even in the bank, even though I didn't enjoy there was a bit of banking that I liked, that was customer service. I did enjoy interacting with the customers across the counter. So I used to enjoy going to tell them, oh sorry, network is down, but we're going to attend to you soon. But of course, when there was a rush, you know how it is. But in the bank was when I learned to be organized. In the bank was when I learned to be organized. In fact, I that skill was so imbibed in me that years later, I forgot my carefree, playful self because I had taken on this persona of somebody who was organized. You can't afford to make a mistake in the bank. So I learned to be organized, and then of course my people skills was also sharpened in the bank. So nothing is a waste. And the people that I met, some of those people will drop you off the wrong way. You have to learn how to manage people and then also having to manage clients. And those are skills that even
Life
today,
lessons.
exactly, that even today still benefit me. So forget the fact that there were times, in fact, I always had Sunday blues. I'm not joking. There were times that I would actually be crying on a Sunday night, just thinking about the fact that I'm going to work tomorrow. I didn't, but there were lessons that I learned. So really nothing is wasted. No experience is wasted. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I actually wanted you to point out that because I know you and we've had this discussion before,
Yeah.
and you told me because, oh yeah, as a client, you did a job for me, and as a
Yes.
client, you wanted feedback, and I
Yes.
said, oh, that's you're very organized, and so you told me how you got
Mm.
that you were not disorganized, but because of your banking
Yeah.
experience, that was what
Mm.
led to this. So I wanted you to share that because some people think if
Mm.
we have people here in the UK who
Mm.
are currently not doing what they would and what they would have
What
loved
they
to
enjoy.
do.
Mm.
Yeah, they're not doing what they enjoy, but
Mm.
whilst they're doing it, they don't know that they are picking up
Things.
some life lessons that would
Yeah.
benefit them later. So it's
Mm.
very good that you pointed that out. Thank you so much. And I see a lot of people. Let me just acknowledge some of our guests. Bernard, thank you. That's my brother from New Zealand. Bernard, I appreciate you. My cousin is here from, and what's that state again? Oh my God, I can't remember. The Casino State. She's gonna kill me. She's in America in that cast. I don't know what's called anymore. Don't mind me. Gertrude,
That's
thank you.
it.
She's gonna kill me. Um, Gertrude was my guest last week. Thank you so
Oh,
much. Is that Yinka Shorinwa? Yeah, Uncle Yinka, God bless you for joining. Dr. T, thank you. Yeah, Vegas. Yeah, she's in Vegas. Thank you, Grace. Thank you. Yeah, she's in Vegas, Las Vegas. Yeah.
okay.
So, Michelle, you didn't know that the casino state.
You know what came? Do you know what? Do you know what came to my mind? Nevada. But I'm like, it's not.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
not Nevada. You know. So I was still thinking.
yeah. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Keep your questions coming in. Keep your comments coming in. So, Michelle, thank you for sharing your banking experience and the lessons you took out of that. And you've become that woman right now. So, you've told us your journey from being a Muslim, then you used to be a timid child, but right now you speak in front of people, you have groups that you're coordinating, you have communities that you're building. I mean, your communities. So I know that you have a lot of things you're doing. Man, there are some strong women out there, oh guys. There are some strong women out there. So I want us to talk about the things that you do right now,
Okay.
those things that you do now. And I would like to start with what you do with teenagers, because I know that my teenage son was part of your program. I think it was in the initial one, the first
Initial.
one, yeah,
Yeah.
the pilot one, yeah. So
Mm.
could you tell us about that? Let us into that. What
Okay.
exactly, what led to that, first of all,
Right. Right.
and tell us how is it going as
Okay.
well?
Okay. So, apart from the fact that I was a banker, I was also a classroom teacher. I still teach, but not in the, classroom setting. So I was a teacher for 7 years plus, and I worked with adolescents, and it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. Growing up the way I did, I thought that the children that I was teaching should should behave the way I behaved when I was their age. So I had certain expectations from them, and I couldn't understand some of their, behaviors. And so there were certain things that used to bother me then, and I kept asking, questions about the children's behavior. Some of them, because back then, for instance, if an adult asked you to do something, you couldn't ask why. Why what? Do you understand? So I didn't understand why a teenager would, ask me why. Or maybe I would say, oh, could you pick up that piece of paper from the floor? And they'd be like, oh, but I didn't put it there. What is going on? Like, what is going on? You
They've been
know,
westernized. They've been
oh,
westernized.
Oh, so I was trying to understand. I didn't understand that things had changed. Do you get? I did my own kids were much younger, so I hadn't even started to experience that sort of behavior in my own house. So I found it really strange. But you see, what now made me start thinking seriously about working with young people. And I said earlier when I started that I felt like the impact that I could make would be greater if outside of the school system. I felt like I couldn't impact the children the way I wanted to if I was in the system, because I was a subject teacher. And you know how schools are, the focus is on academics, so you're planning your lessons, you want to deliver outstanding lessons. I was an outstanding teacher. I took the time to plan my lessons, make sure that the lessons were fun. Do you get? But there was more that I felt like I could do with the children. But I mean, you're bogged down teaching them, training the brain. But there was something else, and that was the emotional part of things. And I didn't feel like we understood. So now, with the benefit of hindsight, I now understand what it was that was troubling me. We didn't understand what was driving the children's behavior. So even when we saw behavior that was um, worrisome, we put it to, oh, this child is probably spoiled, this child is rude, things like that. We didn't understand that there were children who probably were dealing with emotional issues. We didn't understand the place of bonding, between maybe parents and the child. So we didn't just know what was happening behind. So what we saw was the child and the behavior. And of course, every school has, ways that they deal with behavioral issues. So of course, the sanctions, maybe you go and talk to someone. But looking back now, I understand that there's a lot more we could have done if we understood how emotional issues affect children. So before I left, I started to think about how do I help children? How do I understand these children? And that was when I signed up for a master's in guidance and counseling. And along the line, I started to understand things about personality. And in that class, I began to understand my own childhood. I don't know if you've met people who tell you things like, oh, my mother beat me left, right, and center, but look at me now, I turned out okay. Or, if my mother should insult you here, if my mother should do this, but look at us, we're okay. In my experience, those things affect us. Those things affect us. So when I was doing my program, I started to understand the connection between, how we're raised, our experiences, the environment, that we grew up in, and how we eventually turn out. So while I was trying to understand the children, I was also trying to understand myself. So what
Mm,
that did was I wanted to help the children avoid some of the pitfalls that I, fell into. I told you I was very timid. I couldn't stand
mm,
up for myself. I wasn't assertive. And the
mm.
thing was, way up to my early adult years, I was still not assertive. And so typically you will find yourself attracting people, it could be friends, it could be relationships, where people will typically, want to put you down because you're
Mm.
not used to speaking your mind. You grew up in an environment where you did what you were told, you couldn't ask why. And it's typical African setting. So it's not as if it was anything unusual in my home. There wasn't any abuse or anything. It was just typical African, but children are different. So children would, respond to such things in different ways. So maybe there'll be
Differently.
maybe there'll be somebody who might have just shrugged it off, but I didn't. It affected me. I was really very timid. And so I wanted something that would help young people begin to learn about who, they were themselves, become authentic, become happy with who they are. One of the nicest testimonials I hear from the children who take that program, and I'll talk about it in a bit, is that they've learned to accept themselves as they are, and that they've come to understand that being different is not necessarily a bad thing. That gladdens my heart. That was something I didn't know as a child, because it was like if you behave a certain way, you're being rude, you're being disrespectful. Okay, so something, for instance, like somebody hands you something and you stretch out your left hand to take it. Ha! It's like you've committed some kind of, abomination, things like that. Or, so there was something my mom, and it's not as if some of these lessons were bad in any way, but it's just the manner in which sometimes as parents we try to enforce things that are not necessarily helpful to the child. Like what, and people might not find this funny, but really, what's the big deal about stretching my left hand? Like, who does it really hurt? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Why should, or even children writing with their left hand, you see some people trying to force the child to change to, so some things that are not necessarily, helpful, but because we've passed down this tradition, from one generation to another, we just think that, okay, this is how things should be. And we insist on, and in insisting upon these things, sometimes it affects how we interact with our children, how, the upbringing is rigid because we don't want them to depart from that culture, So I started to understand that the children need to find out soon enough. And then I started with my children. So the first module I created, it was my children that I did the test run with. So I gave them the workbook. I said, go and fill in this. And of course, it didn't go well because I wasn't there to monitor it. But, I had started something. I knew I was onto something. And of course, after the first launch, I knew that, yes, this is something that I want to do. My own children were in the class with Timmy. And, for your own children to tell you that this was, and they're very honest too. So it's not like they're saying it because it's mommy's program. For your own children to tell you, I found this program beneficial in this area. I knew that I was really onto something. So that's how the journey. But you know for me, I don't say it's more impactful, but something that's as impactful as creating that course and getting this testimonial was that I discovered myself in the process. So I started to understand my own struggles as a young person, as a teenager. And the more I work with the children, the more the more I understood myself, and the more I said to myself, I don't want any child to have to struggle the way I did. It's not a funny place to be in where you need to. It's not a funny place to be in where you're so afraid to take steps. It's not a funny place to be in where you're not bold enough to do what you know needs to be done. It's really not a funny place to be in. So that's how this journey started.
Okay, Michelle, thank you so much. I know you have a lot to say on that, but you've still not told us the name of the program, the teenage. Yeah. So what do you call that program you have for teenagers, and
the Teen
who is it for?
MasterMinds? Yes, it's called the Teen
The
Mastermind. Masterminds. Teen because it's for teenagers. Okay, but I've kind of extended it a bit to include a little, so children from 11 to 16, yes. Masterminds, because we're helping them develop their social and emotional skills. But then there are some core courses to help them. So things like entrepreneurship. The idea is to build the total child. So you know who a mastermind is? To build that total child. So it's not just about school. You could be a smart kid, but what use is your smartness if you can't articulate what you know? What use is all that book work if you can't use it to solve a real life problem? You understand? So the idea is to build and develop this teen mastermind. And you know how it is with teenagers, the peer pressure. So helping them understand that look, it's okay to be yourself. If you've got character flaws, everyone has got character flaws. It's not anything for you to go and hide or to now begin to pretend. We all have flaws. So own it and then work on it. And there's so much to you. So to help them
on it.
To help them see their uniqueness. So that's really what the program is about. So it's focused on the social and emotional learning of the teenagers. Oh, I see a question here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dr. T, yeah.
Okay. He said, are you proposing?
I
Do you want me to answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Please
So he
send
said,
your questions in.
are you proposing we do away? No, 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 no. I'm also conservative. Oh. I'm conservative. And no, I didn't say shake with your left hand. No, that's not what I said. Not shaking with your left hand. I'm just saying that sometimes you want to hand over something to a young person. Maybe the right hand is busy. The person just stretches out, or maybe they want to even hand you something. And it's the left hand that is available, and they just take it and hand it to you. So what I'm saying is, why is it such a big deal? So really the question I'm asking is some of those things that we impose on our children, why do we impose those things? So for instance, don't collect that thing with your left hand. Where did we get that? Where did we get that the idea that stretching my left hand to receive something from you is
The
wrong?
right hand.
Ahead, that is where do we get the idea that it's
Yeah.
wrong? So for my girls, for instance, I tell them, because I know that it's a bit of a problem. So I tell them, if somebody hands you something, please use your right hand. It's culture. I don't understand it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how useful it is, other than the fact that it's offensive if you use your left hand. Do you understand? So I'm not proposing that we do away with culture. We do need to be grounded. We do need to be grounded. So
Yeah. ChairLady Bee says
God
God
gave
gave
us
us two hands, so we are supposed
to use
we are supposed to be using both
use both hands.
hands. Yeah, I totally understand that. And the funny thing,
Yeah.
yesterday I was on Instagram Live and I was listening to an interview. So there's this lady, I respect her a lot, a lot. She was interviewing some young adults, 4 young adults, and they were having these conversations about like them telling their parents what they want their
Oh,
parents to
I think I
know.
saw it.
And that was so, honestly, anyone who wants to listen to this, it's 2 hours. But Michelle, I think you need to hear this. Dr. T, you
Right.
too. Honestly, mind-blowing conversations. And do you know they said this left-hand thing? They said, Mom says, don't use your left hand. Don't use it.
Like,
What
why?
is wrong with my left hand? and what they were emphasizing, oh, Kisha has joined us. Hi,
Okay.
Kisha. And what they were emphasizing was,
Mm.
Mom tells us don't, Dad says don't do this, but we don't
We
take
don't know
time to
why.
explain why.
Why?
And it is the why that keeps them grounded, not
Exactly.
what you're saying. It is the why. I'm gonna give you an example. I told my son when he was about
Mm.
6 or 5, I think 5 or 6, I told him, look, we don't celebrate Halloween. And a an average child in the UK from the age of 3 will start asking why. The, from 3 is even late. From two and a
Yeah.
half, once you ask them anything, they'll just say why. If you say go there, why? Sit there. Why, mommy?
Why?
Why, daddy? So they will ask
Mm.
why. So I think Timmy asked why. I can't even remember. So I looked for a very good research online and I made him read it. When we finished reading, it was
Mm.
5 or 6. Timmy himself was convinced that
Right.
you don't need Halloween.
Exactly.
So that was the explanation.
Mm.
So I didn't just tell him, oh, there's no Halloween. Because it's like you're depriving them. Okay, you're
Yeah.
telling your child, no, I'm not going to say that because Kisha is watching. I'm not going to say, but there's something, we have to take time, like Dr. T said, that
Mm.
explanations are very necessary.
They
Those are
are
the things
necessary.
that keep explanations keep your children grounded. And I like
Yeah.
what you do with the teenagers. I know your program is very rounded because you do financial literacy,
Yeah.
Then you do, what else do you do? You do financial
So there's
literacy.
authenticity. We start them
Mm.
off with authenticity because I feel like that
Thank
is
you.
so
Thank you.
important. You need to know who you are. You need to be true to yourself. You need to love yourself because you need to be rooted. You will come to a situation in life, even as a teenager or maybe later in life, where the people who surround you might not be cheering you on. So what do you do if you don't even love yourself? So we start
Mm.
them up with authenticity, and then we do self-awareness because for you to be authentic, you have to know yourself. So we have this assessment that we run for them. Then we do communication, so that, and somebody asked me, why did I decide to work with adolescents? I said, because that's the age where, they are becoming independent and, they might have this back and forth with their parents and with their teachers. And it's so easy to get what you want from people if you know how to ask,
Also communicate. Yeah.
how to communicate. So we talk to them about communication. How do you ask? How do you ask to get what you want? And then we look at
Oh,
self-management. We look at things like managing your emotions. And what are some of those emotions? Anger. A lot of teenagers deal with anger issues. So where is that anger coming from? How can you begin to tell when you're becoming angry? What can you do to calm yourself down? What can you do to express your anger in a way that is helpful, in a way that is beneficial, in a way that doesn't destroy relationships? Then we talk about fear, we talk about shame, we talk about self-doubt, So we help them navigate those emotions and to help them understand that you needn't be ashamed of your emotions. Emotions are given to us to warn us. Fear, for instance, is to tell you that, oh, there's some danger. Okay, but there's a certain kind of fear that is unhelpful. So we want them to identify what is unhelpful and how to deal with it. And then empathy is another thing that we look at. Young people, I worked with young people who, somebody trips and falls, and before you know, they're laughing. Like, why is it funny that somebody tripped and fell? So you want to help them put themselves in other people's shoes and see things from the other person's perspective. And see, the thing about bullying is that when you bully someone, it's because you think somehow. Of course, someone who bullies another person has issues emotionally, and that's something that we even need to, be looking at. But when you bully someone, it's sort of like lording it over them. It's a power play kind of thing. So you want to help children understand, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Try to see things from the other person's perspective. And then we do a financial literacy and entrepreneurship, like you mentioned. And then the last batch, I introduced them digital marketing because, like I said,
wow.
I want them, yes, to have soft skills, but then to also have these core skills that will help them in the real world. So those are
Okay,
basically.
you've given so much away. You've given so much away. So Grace,
Okay,
Grace, Grace said she wants to connect with you. So I'm gonna
okay,
link you up with Grace. Grace is
okay,
my friend here in the UK. I'll link you up with her so you
okay.
guys can work together.
Together.
Grace,
Okay.
that's done then. That's done for you. So, you've given a lot away. The master class, the mastermind runs for 10 weeks, right? Or you've increased it. Have
Um,
you increased it?
Sandwich, I'm constantly,
Okay, don't say
improving.
anything about that mastermind again. You've said too many things. They have to register their teenagers from the ages of 11 to
11 to
18, you said?
16.
To what age?
16.
16,
11 to
11 to 16, yeah.
yes.
And once they finish the mastermind,
Mm.
you put them on a 1 year mentoring
And
program.
okay, so let me talk a bit about that because
A bit,
no, no,
a bit.
a bit, just a bit. So I've tweaked that a little,
Okay,
so it's not 1 year, and then the mentorship is now included in the program. So we do
okay,
2 weeks of the program and then 1 week of mentorship. And this
okay.
time there's also, so I keep adding stuff. I keep adding stuff to the program, and this time there's a family life, element to it
Okay,
where the
okay.
parents, because the idea is, to get,
We'll
so I
talk about the
decided,
parents one. We'll talk about the parents one.
yeah, so what I'm saying is I've actually added something to this program,
Hmm.
yeah, which includes the parents. which includes the
Okay,
parents.
okay.
So we're not having that
Okay, we
1
didn't
year.
get that because
So you
ours was
didn't,
the pilot, so we
yeah,
didn't get that. Okay,
didn't
that's
get that.
fine. I'm still with you. I
No,
can
but
get it
you're not
privately.
losing anything.
No, no, I'm not. I have you in my corner, so I'm not losing anything. All right.
Yeah.
So because of our time, we're gonna go fast, fast, fast. I know you
Okay,
have a lot to say. So we're
plenty.
gonna go quick, 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 quick. Anybody
Okay,
who wants to connect with Michelle can always get in touch with me.
okay.
Oh, Gertrude says, well done. Yeah. Powerful
Yes.
women, powerful. You
Thank
all
you.
need to connect. You need to connect with Dr. T. That's my
Okay,
big sister here in Glasgow. You need to
okay.
connect with Gertrude. Gertrude is
Right,
my that woman of God, she's on fire. She's just fire. When she talks, it's fire. So you need to connect with her. I need all this powerhouse to connect.
right.
And Grace as well. Grace will connect with you. I'll set that
Okay,
up immediately after
okay,
this. Set that up.
okay.
Okay, so you have another group. You're building a community of parents, and I
Yeah,
love the name of that community.
yeah.
It's called the Responsive Parents.
Yeah,
So we don't just want to be parents, we want to be responsive.
yeah,
We don't want to react, we want to respond.
yeah,
So tell us about the responsive parents. I see that we are growing, our
yeah,
community is growing.
yeah.
So tell us about the response. How did you get there? Michelle, time.
Okay, I'll be quick.
Okay, go for it.
Well, the thing is, when you're
Go
working
for
with
it.
children, yeah, when you're working, so for me, I felt, okay, I'm working with young people, but if I don't get parents and teachers on board, I'm also building a community of teachers, but that's in the works. I feel like I need to have a 360-degree approach to, working with young people because they have teachers working with them, they have parents, who take care of them. So the idea was if I'm just simply working with the children, if the parents don't have the idea of how to be responsive, if the parents don't understand the children's needs, these kids will go back and the work will be undone. So as many parents as possible, I feel need to know about what it means to be responsive. And what does it mean to be responsive? To know what your child needs and to respond appropriately, adequately, and also consistently. So that's it basically. So this is helping parents move from that lack of emotional connection, because there's this idea that, oh, if I'm in the house, at least I'm in the house and watching them, but the child might be in his room or her room and you have no idea what's going on. So it's really about understanding your child's needs and then being able to respond adequately and consistently to the child's needs. So I just thought, okay, I need to have a community where I'm constantly sharing information about how to be responsive. Okay, so that's in a nutshell.
Okay, so you have another person who is going to
Mm,
connect. Dr.
okay,
T is going to connect. Dr. T
okay.
is a financial guru. She's an academic doctor, by the
Oh,
way.
okay,
Academic doctor,
okay,
financial. Hey, my big sister
okay,
is.
okay.
Hey, I'm not easy. So she's going to connect with you on financial education. She can be a
Mm,
great support, great resource.
results, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. That'd
Oh,
be nice.
thank you, Pastor Shegun, big baby. Pastor Shegun has joined us. Thank you so much. Pastor Shegun has a passion for young people as well. So, Michelle, you are on fire today. Everybody is in your circle. Don't worry, with me, you have all of them. All of them. You have all of
Yes,
them with me.
I'm looking forward to the interaction.
Yeah. So now you have another group.
Mm,
That's your marketplace assign. All these ones you've said. Those are your marketplace assignments.
yeah.
So now let's talk about Sisters Aflame. In fact,
Mm,
I see Dr. T in that Sisters Aflame. Let's talk
amen.
about Sisters Aflame because some of our discussions
Mm,
in that group is always fire.
ah. Mm, But if you don't have mind,
So
if you don't have mind, let me just say it
some of our
now.
discussions, every lady here should be part of our sisters flame. So some of this sometimes I know, was it on Friday you were saying to me, sis, come and drop your own contribution. I was like, I don't have time for you people today. I didn't answer you at all. So tell us, how did you start Sisters of Flame? What led you to starting that?
So you see, I've always wanted to be able to bear my mind. You know how it is in this part where you can't really bear your mind the way it is. So let me even say something. I don't want to shock anybody. Let me respect
Say it,
myself.
say it, say it, say it.
Okay, so imagine that you're married, for instance. And in fact, this was even the conversation we're having. Imagine that you're married and then you now start feeling attracted to somebody else.
Hmm,
Who can you trust to go and open up to? So you
hmm,
have people who have these burdens and they can't talk to anyone. So I've always wanted, so first of all, I wanted to be able to talk about anything and everything. I didn't want to have conversations where it's just, I'm not saying we can't talk about the Lord. I love the Lord. I told you I was, born as a Muslim, raised as a Muslim. And the Lord found me, the Lord saved me. I love the Lord. I haven't looked back since then. I haven't even had any thought of going back. But I don't always want to talk about um, the Bible says, okay, let us pray about it. I want to pray, yes. But sometimes I just want to unburden. I
hmm,
just want to have somebody to say, I beg, today I don't want to pray. Today I'm angry with
hmm,
God. I want to be able to say, man, this person fine. No, do you understand? Without you judging me, saying somebody is fine does not mean I'm looking for anything. I want to be free with my sisters. But you find that sometimes it's hard to do that. Do you understand? So I just felt, okay, have a community. And it's so serious that sometimes when people are going through real life issues, difficulty in the marriage, difficulty with a child, they can't talk to anybody. Because the next thing you will hear is, it is well. It is well. The Lord will do
there's there's a
it. A
there's a
wise woman
scripture.
builded her home. Those are the things people start telling you. And it's not as if you don't know these things already, but at that point, what you probably need is somebody to hear you out, somebody to validate you, somebody to maybe give you a hug. That's what you want at that. And then afterwards, we can now pray. So you find that a lot of women bottle up stuff. Or somebody, maybe you want to talk to somebody about something going on at home, they say, but are you showing your husband enough love? What is his best food? What's his best food? Have you cooked his best food? You know all these things. Do you understand? So I wanted a community where we love the Lord. So it was basically about helping us grow spiritually. And that's why, for me, if you're on Sisters of Flame, I prefer that when you're sharing, share something that the Lord has shown you rather than forwarded posts. Because when you forward something, most times you haven't even thought about it. You just see something that looks good, forward. So it's about when you come here, share something that the Lord has shown you. Okay, share prayer points, something that is bothering you that you want us to talk about. But also, it's a safe community, no judgment. How is it doing you? Tell us. How is it doing you? Don't lie. Do you understand? Of course, I know that people will be a little hesitant because you're not sure who the next person is, and I get it. But eventually, it's a place where I want it to be a place where people are safe. You can talk about how it is really doing you, so that people can hold your hand, listen to you, validate you, and then pray with you. So that's what Sisters of Flame is about.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much. So Sisters of Flame is a group on WhatsApp
Yep.
and Facebook. But Michelle is going to start our Zoom. Yeah, yeah. She's going to start talking to us maybe once a month on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that we can I know all these my sisters will like sisters are flame because men, I've got some real sisters in my corner. How?
Hmm.
Some real
I would
sisters.
love to have them.
I've got some real sisters in my corner. Sisters who will tell you that he's not touching me. I won't let him touch me. I'm angry. You know, not sisters that will now judge and judge. So please, all our sisters, please add me on WhatsApp. Yeah, there. Oh my God, there was a particular one that WhatsApp was almost on fire.
Don't talk
This
about
is
it.
purely sisters gist. Purely sisters gist. WhatsApp was almost on fire, and I loved it. Ah, I so loved it. It was really good. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And I like your one thing I like about you is that gentility that you bring on board. And you just coordinate things. You just know a way of coordinating us that sisters, come on, say something, add to it, and it's always an amazing time. We have prayers. We take turns to lead
Yeah.
prayers. You can choose to lead by Zoom, or you can choose to just send in your prayer points and people just pray along. It's a community we are trying to grow. So if you want to be a part of it, please let me know. And I can discuss, let me see. I can discuss that day. You can discuss anything, sister. You can
Anything,
discuss
anything,
anything. We know you're a Christian, so don't try and impress us.
anything.
Anything. We discuss it there in a sisterly way.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're making me do. This is not the way I act on Wordzone. Let me put on my Wordzone attitude. So
I beg.
So thank you. So anyone who wants to join Sisters of Flame, please feel free to get in touch with me. I will definitely. Eloha said she's there already. Eloha, you're
Already?
there already. Is your kind of thing, you, Sister Thelma. Mo, I know Mo is not watching. Funke, all of you is your kind of. I know Ruth is your kind of association. Don't worry, you will enjoy
Just
it.
bring
I'll,
them,
I'll
bring
give
them.
you. I will tell you one that would. Let's not be
Right.
distracted. So, brothers, don't worry. You can start your brothers aflame. Yes, Sister Yemisi is your kind of place. You will join. Don't worry. So all of you will join. Brothers, start your own brothers aflame if you are jealous. Ima, you can join. We don't do plenty church things. Gertrude, they are there already. Don't worry. So now that's your ministry, and
Yeah.
is growing by the grace of God. God would expand us. When these women join, we will catch fire. Don't worry.
I know.
We'll go, we'll go on fire. So you also render services, and you helped me when I was developing my models for my course. You really, really, really did a good job for me, and I'm so grateful. And I want to publicly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Kisha said, "What about Kids Aflame?" Kisha, you can start Kids Aflame.
Ooh. Yeah, you can.
Sister Delma says, "His brothers on the move." Okay, so you offer services. So can you just tell us the kind of services you offer and how people can connect with you so that we can round off the
Okay.
almost our
Oh,
1 hour is very close now.
okay. Okay, so I've already talked about the Teen MasterMinds. I've got a program called She Heals. Okay, I don't want to go into the story of that, but I believe that we are all affected by our childhood. And for some
Mm,
people, childhood was traumatic,
mm,
and many people are stuck.
mm,
They're in a place they can't move forward. It could be in work, it could be in their relationships, and it's because they haven't healed from their childhood trauma. So what I do with She Heals, it's focused on women. But if there's any man who is interested, well, I could work with him because it's still the same basic principles of therapy and coaching, but I'm focused on women. So it's to help women heal childhood trauma so that they can go on to live this fulfilling, lives that, they deserve. And of course, I create content for personal development. So my focus is on social and emotional learning. That's the area that I'm passionate about. So I do create content. I have one-on-one coaching for young people. So if Teen MasterMinds is not enough, and then you want to do a one-on-one coaching with a child, I'm your girl. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
basically
So
what I do.
the Teen
Teen
Mastermind
Mastermind,
is a group.
the group, yes, the
Yeah,
group
it's a
coaching
group
program.
coaching.
Yes,
Yeah. Then if you want one to one, then you
yes,
need to go to Coach Michelle. And I like to say this, it's with a commitment fee.
yeah,
It's not free. So it's very important to state your terms and conditions,
yeah, yeah,
especially when you're dealing with our kind of people, our do people, we always believe that free is better than cheap. But in this case, there's a commitment fee. You are not paying, you are just committing. So there's a commitment fee to it. Okay, so Michelle, what are the last what you would like to say to us? I know we're going to have a time where all of us ladies, in fact, let me just publicly invite all these my beautiful ladies to
mm,
a program we're having. I'm having the program. The Estes Company is having the program on the 4th of June, and it's Let's Talk Anything and Everything. Let's
yeah,
just talk as women. What's everything and everything. So it's going to be an open program. It's not churchy kind of thing. It's open to the community, but we want to really discuss things that happen to us, how we can go about it. Some of us dying of isolation. You want to find out, how can I get help? And we want to do it in such a way whereby people can really connect. Like on Wordzone now, we're connecting. Michelle, you've added about 5 or 6 people to your contacts now, which is fantastic, because when you pray for open doors, what God does is to send you people. People are doors. They open up your next level. And I believe great things for you
amen.
from today. I totally believe it, because all these people you're connecting with are people that are passionate about what they do. And I know that coming together, you will do greater works. I believe it. And I'm so excited. Looking forward to your collab with Dr. T. Oh my
Right.
God, I'm really excited. Then Gertrude might decide to take you to Malawi. Who knows? So the only thing I'll just be waiting for is my commission.
Coming, it's coming.
I need to start collecting affiliates, affiliate marketing. What does a law call it? And working with a law,
Mm,
your digital marketing, you need to talk to a law. She's our social
right.
media coach and social media queen. So you need to talk to her.
I
So
was
all
I
these
was on her
people that
challenge. It was really, really impactful on the Instagram challenge.
yes, you were.
It was really,
Yeah.
really,
So
really,
you need
really.
to not just challenge now. It has to be personal challenge. Two of you start
I get
doing
because
personal challenge. Yeah. So I believe things are gonna work out. Yeah. That social capital, you're
yeah,
building your social capital. And I'm so Michelle. Eloy is waiting for
I'm
you. So
coming. Yeah.
yeah. So now, what was I gonna ask you? Last words, what are the things you would like to tell us before you go? What do you want to say? I enjoyed this, so I don't feel like ending it.
What do
Hi,
I say?
Emmanuel. Sorry. Hi,
Okay.
Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you better start Brothers Aflame or Brothers on Fire. Go on. Yeah, go on.
Okay. All right. So what do I say? So what was my biggest problem? Fear, right? So there's something I tell my children sometimes when they're feeling a little nervous. I tell them the thing you're afraid of is also afraid of you, you
Hmm.
know. And so for me, one thing that I would like to live with is um, don't be afraid. Fear held me back, held me down for a long time. So if I have to share any last words, it will be this: do not be afraid. I can't, if I have to start going into, we won't live here, but do not be afraid. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You said don't be afraid. And I want to add to it, even
Right.
if you're afraid, do it afraid.
Do it afraid. Yes.
Do it
Do it
afraid.
afraid. Yes.
Go for it. Go for
Right.
it. There is no one who your ideas are the best your ideas can do in your brain is nothing. It will just stay there.
Right.
But the world needs your ideas. The world needs we if if you didn't start Sisters Aflame, we wouldn't have that platform
Yeah.
to discuss real issues.
Yeah.
Issues that you will not be able to discuss in your Sisters Fellowship in church. You can't. I can bet
Yeah.
you, you can't. Such issues, you can't discuss it in your Sisters Fellowship in church. But this
Yeah.
is a place where you can discuss such issues. You can talk about real issues and get real solutions and hear people say things that, without you being judged.
Yeah.
And you can have your children on if you want your children to come on the mastermind program. So please, if not that you took that step of faith and decided to start this, we won't have this. And I want to speak to anyone who is joining us here and there is something that God is, has laid in your heart to start and you feel
Oh, it looks like you're on the show. Oh, network looks like. Yes, it is. Mm. Okay, she's back.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
You're definitely back, and you have something in your heart that God has laid in your heart, and you're feeling, oh, how do I start this? Where do I go from here? I just want to encourage you, start anyhow. And don't be afraid to start small. Don't be afraid to start small. Go for it. You might think, oh, who is going to listen to me? I'm not as eloquent as others. I don't have enough education. You're going to learn on the job. People tell me, oh, Ola, when you're doing this thing, it just comes to you naturally. You tell a lie. Sometimes I don't even feel like talking. Sometimes when you read do you know how many profiles that I read? Some profiles, when I read some profiles, I'll be like, what am I going to ask this person? But guess what? I just come on, it's my platform, and I enjoy myself. I make up my mind before I start. I'm going to enjoy myself today.
Mm.
And I just do it my way. Men focusing on the audience of one. So
Right.
if you can make up your mind that, look, I'm going to honor God and serve humanity, you will do it. You will do it. And promise me you are going to do this. So step out there and begin to do something and let Michelle know that her story inspired you to start something. Oh, thank you. Oh, Dr. Thelma, I'm very glad. Oh, I'm very glad to be a part of your success story. Don't forget my fee. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle, for coming. We
You're
totally
welcome.
enjoyed today. And Michelle has advised, please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Go for it. And if you still feel the fear, do it afraid.
Anyway,
The fear
yeah.
will go. As you step out, the fear will go. So this is where we're going to draw the curtain today. Please, 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 please don't miss next week. Next week is another man who is focused on teenagers. I don't know why. I'm just into this teenagers thing. And his story is beautiful, honestly. So you don't want to miss next week. God bless you, everyone. Please share this video. Share this video and let people hear and watch us. God bless you. Take care. Good night. Bye. Okay.